Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, and QADASH. Double honors unto our apostles and elders of great millstone that rule well and teach well, orderly and firmly through the Spirit, who are the elders of Yahawadah. To the Akim, meaning brothers, my fellow laborers, risking our lives and fearing to push His word out in truth and sincerity, now more so than ever. To the Akim, YAHAWAH, meaning and Akhwat meaning sisters, that are listening and learning, being doers of the word and abiding in the faith. And to the speckled bird, scattered abroad, you Israelite foreigners that look like the other nations, but are truly Yasharallah through the Spirit. Shalom, Barakah, peace unto you and bless you all. Yahawah is the true name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God. BAHASHAM means in the name. YAHAWASHI is the true name of the one the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. YAHAWASHI means He is Savior, He is Deliverer. RAWCHAA means Spirit. QADASH means Holy. Alright, that's on the ancient Hebrew, the Paleo Hebrew. Lashawan QADASH, the holy language or holy tongue. Okay, we are the Hebrew Israelites coming out day in, day out, week in and week out to prophesy the downfall of this wicked queendom, mystery Babylon, the great harlot, aka America, spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, Rome, Greece, Nineveh, so on and so forth. All right, and to call forth the elect of Israel, right, of our people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians, unto repentance, because the Most High God is going to destroy this place by way of thermonuclear missiles. All right, and if you are not a part of the elect, you will be destroyed alongside the heathen nations. All right, starting with Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right, and that's the 2/3 pursuant to the book of Zechariah, chapter 13 and 8. All right. As a matter of fact, we can start off by reading that.
So, 13 and 28.
13 and 8.
This is Zechariah 13 and 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahawah, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the 3rd shall be left therein.
All right, the 2 parts. Now, first of all, in all the land, it's in reference to the Israelites in Babylon. Okay, because we know that Israel is a people before it's a place. Okay, it's not necessarily referring to the actual land of Israel, because we know that we've been scattered. All right, we're all over the world, but this prophecy is specifically dealing with the Israelites that are in Babylon. Okay, because this is the land where, you know, great judgment is going to occur. All right, where Judah and Israel, the southern and the northern kingdom, are all oppressed together. Okay, so in all the land, right, referring to the Israelites in Babylon, in this part of the world, 2 parts, 2/3, the majority of our people shall be cut off and die. The 3rd that shall be left therein is talking about the elect, right? And you can read verse 9.
Verse 9 says, And I will bring the 3rd part through the fire, and I will refine them as silver is refined, and I will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, It is my people, and they shall say, Yahawah is my God.
Right. So that's the trials, tribulations, adversities, and afflictions when it's talking about us being put through the fire. Lord's we were part of that number. Okay? Because we're going to have to suffer. Okay? Patience and suffering, they're synonymous. Just like Yahawashi, when he was on the scene, he had to patiently humble himself to the will of the Heavenly Father. And he was like, there was a couple of different times where he was like, look, it's not my time yet. All right, this isn't the time where my servants are going to fight, because this isn't my kingdom, right? He told his mom, you know, what do I have to do with this? You know, my time is not yet, roughly paraphrasing. So he understood the will of the Heavenly Father and what he had to do. All right, it wasn't the time for him to conquer and bring about the kingdom of heaven yet. That time, when he was on the earth as a man, he was there to suffer. That's literally what he was here for. Okay? Likewise, us following in his footsteps, we're here to suffer as well. We're here to be persecuted. We're here to deal with the flesh, deal with the elements, deal with Esau, Edom, our captivity, our oppressors, the heathen nations, 2/3 of our people. We're here to go through the suffering as it pertains to all of these things that we have to live within and amongst, right?
The precept from Lance back that point. This is Wisdom of Solomon 3, starting at 4. For though they be punished in the sight of men, yet their hope is full of immortality. And having been a little chastised, they shall be greatly rewarded. For thy power proved them, and found them worthy for himself. As gold in the furnace hath he tried them, and received them as a burnt offering. And in their time of their visitation, they shall shine and run to and fro like sparks among the stubble.
Beautiful, right? Because, you know, you have to be willing to suffer for YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, just as willing as YAHAWASHI was. You know, we can't measure up to YAHAWASHI, of course, right? That's our big bro. That's the anointed one, MASHAYACH, and he was, you know, specifically made for that purpose. You know, that's the highest level. But we strive to be like him. We strive to be like YAHAWASHI, you know, proven to be his friends, his brothers. Okay? So you have to be willing to suffer. And like it said, it's going to pay off in the end. We're not suffering for nothing. We're suffering for righteousness' sake. All right? And when you suffer for righteousness' sake, YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI is shining through you. You know, the Most High's light is shining through you. You're a vessel of, one of those vessels of mercy, like it says in Romans, I believe the 9th chapter. You know, fitted for salvation, fitted for godhood or godship, rulership. Okay, precept to that, Hebrews chapter 3 and verse 14. For we are made partakers of HaMashiach if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast unto the end. All right, so from the beginning unto the end. That's why Yahawadah said, he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Right, so we're going to have to hold our confidence in YAHAWASHI firmly and strongly, and be willing to go through everything that he wills us to go through. All right, whether that be the loss, right, so-called loss, because we don't really lose anything. It's all for our benefit at the end of the day. But so-called loss, whether that be family, friends cut you off because of what you believe in, because of how your life has been completely reformed, how your mind has been changed according to the light of YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, whether that be losing a job because they're like, well, you're part of a hate group and da-da-da, because of the, you know, that's persecution, right? Because you're not willing to compromise your integrity for money, for a job, for friends, for any of that, right? It's a matter of maintaining your integrity in the face of adversity. Those are the ones that are being proven to be worthy of YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI's salvation, worthy of being called YAHAWASHI's friends, you know? You have another one?
This is Ecclesiasticus or Sirach 24:19. Come unto me, all that ye be desirous of me, and fill yourselves with my fruits. For my memorial is sweeter than honey, mine inheritance than the honeycomb. They that eat me shall yet be hungry, and they that drink me shall yet be thirsty. He that obeyeth me shall never be confounded, and they that work by me shall not do amiss.
Right, because when you get into the scriptures, ultimately this is real food right here. Like in the book of Job, YAHAWAH, it said, I've esteemed thy words above my necessary food or necessary meat, roughly paraphrasing, meaning that, you know, when it comes to this right here, this is the bread of life and the living waters. So this is real sustenance. It's not something that's going to temporarily sustain you. It's not something that's going to be lost, corrupt, get moldy. You know, you don't just consume it and that's it. This is something that is a continuous, eternal sustenance. All right, this is what we need right here. And when you get into this, you know, you're invigorated, right? When you watch brothers' lessons, when you watch, you know, the apostles, and all the lessons, all the things that they bring out, the breakdowns, when you get a proper understanding of the scriptures, when you get into the wisdom, the historical accounts of what our forefathers went through and how they got through it, and the faith that they had in YAHAWASHI and YAHAWASHI. When you're around brothers, when you have conversations, when you exhort one another, you strengthen the body, iron sharpening iron, right? When you're occupied in prophecy and the meditation of the Most High's word, this right here, this is true sustenance. This is everything that we need. The Lord does give us everything we need through his word. You know? That's a beautiful thing right there. I wanted to grab this, right? This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 6. And I'm going to start at verse 12. And I'm going to jump down. This is wisdom is glorious and never fadeth away. Yea, she is easily seen of them that love her, and found of such as seek her. We go into that all the time. How the Greek word for wisdom is Sophia. Wisdom in the scriptures at times is personified as a woman, right? To further illustrate how important she is to the men of the Lord, right? Because a man is going to love a woman damn near more than he loves himself. You know, a man's love for a woman is very, very, you know, very serious. You want to wine and dine her, you want to take care of her, okay? You want to make her feel special, buy her roses and all types of gifts, diamonds and pearls. You spend your whole paycheck on a woman, man. You love a woman that much. That's how men are when it comes to women. The scriptures speak about that. You know, I believe the book of Sirach. You know, how men go out of their wicks for women, right? Well, if you're going to do that for any woman, why not do it for Sophia? That's the only one that makes sense. That's the only one that's never going to let you down. It's never going to leave you when you're having a bad day or you lose your job or whatever. You know, women leave men, they divorce you, they take the kids and put you on child support. You know, you got to give half of all your shit. That's never going to happen with Sophia, right? When it comes to wisdom, this is going to build you up. It's going to make you stronger, make you better. All right, there's no downsides to getting with Sophia and giving your all to her. Because ultimately what it is you're giving your all to YAHAWASHI and YAHAWASHI. King Solomon also made note of that, is that the gift of wisdom is from YAHAWASHI and YAHAWASHI. You can't get wisdom except by the Lord. So really, even though wisdom is personified as a woman, we know that wisdom is actually the word of the Most High. And what's the word of the Most High? YAHAWASHI. So you're really giving yourself to your head, your Lord, YAHAWASHI. Okay? And with that, you'll never fall, you'll never be let down. Okay? You'll never, fail. Right? So continuing, it says, I'm going to jump down to verse 17. It says, for the very true beginning of her is the desire of discipline. And the care of discipline is love, right? Temperancy, self-control, all right? Making sure that you're doing what you need to do, consistent, all right? Doing all things with all your might, as unto the Lord, not as unto men. But, I'm getting my work done. I'm doing whatever I need to do because I know that this is going to please YAHAWASHI and YAHAWASHI. I'm hardworking through the Spirit, right? It says, and love is the keeping of her laws, like it says in what? 1 John? If you love me, keep my commandments, right? Obedience, right? The keeping of her laws and the giving heed unto her laws is the assurance of incorruption, the assurance of incorruption. So you can bet that, you're never going to be compromised. You're never going to be one of these people in the world that just don't stand for anything, because you're standing for YAHAWASHI, right? It says, and incorruption maketh us near unto Yahweh power, because incorruption is you're not sinning, all right? Incorruption is faith, integrity, standing stiffly for the names of Yahweh, YAHAWASHI, right? And ultimately that means eternal life, because if you don't sin, then you're not going to die. And if you're not going to die, that means you're immortal. There's no need for death, right? It says, therefore, the desire of wisdom bringeth to a kingdom. If your delight be then in thrones and scepters, O ye kings of the people, honor wisdom, that ye may reign forevermore. See, it's not, your might, it's not your strength, it's not your money, your riches, right? Thrones and the scepters, and the goodies and the glitz and glamour, right? That establishes a kingdom. It's wisdom, right? And again, it's obedience unto YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI. That's what establishes you. That's what establishes your dominion. See, that's why all the other kingdoms have fallen. All these other kingdoms in ancient history have come and gone because they weren't established on the foundation of wisdom. YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI.
And to further that point, the wisdom is a righteous wisdom, not a wisdom of the world. So the point that I want to bring out is 1 Corinthians 1, verse 21. Since thy power in his wisdom saw to it that the world would never know him through human wisdom, he was used our foolish preaching to save those who believe. That reason talking about not using the wisdom of the world and being in that flesh, rather just like you brought out with that scripture about following his laws, and that's where that true wisdom lies in, instead of trying to follow whatever you want to put out there. That's
right.
what I really want to bring out.
Let me see this. I remember there was a precept I wanted to bring out this past Saturday, because I believe it was going into that, right? Because it's not according to the wisdom of man, because the wisdom of man, the knowledge of man is vanity, right? Mm-hmm. And it's really corrupt. Because when it comes to mankind, the scriptures say the Lord has made man upright. They have sought out many inventions, right? Whereas if they were to just stick to the script, so to speak, all right, there wouldn't be any corruption, there wouldn't be any perversion of judgment or any of that, right? But mankind, specifically Esau, Edom mainly, and 2/3 of our people, right? They sought to establish their own righteousness, to do their own thing, rather than going by the way of YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI. And like the brother brought out, it's not by human wisdom, it's not by human reasoning. So I want to, this is 1 Corinthians 2, and I'm going to start at 1. It says, and I, brethren, that was another one. There was another precept in the NLT. I'm going to grab that after this. Let me cue it up real quick. So 1 Corinthians 2 and 1, and I, brethren, when I came to you, came not with excellency of speech or of wisdom, declaring unto you the testimony of Yahweh power. Right, excellency of speech, basically going into like $5, $10 words, getting real philosophical, trying to sound smart, sound deep, okay? Or like that dude on YouTube, where he's like, high-level conversations. Really, that's vanity. That's really to puff your own self up. Like, I got all this knowledge. I've studied all this philosophy. I have my master's in this and that. I have these degrees. Education according to the world, according to Esau, Edom's rudiments, according to his standards. You just look wise. You look deep in the sight of the people. But through the Spirit, the Lord is like, man, that's not deep to me. That's not knowledgeable. That's not wisdom. Okay? Because you're only doing that to make yourself look good. You're not doing that for righteousness' sake or to really edify the masses. It's just to make some money. Right? So Apostle Paul is saying, look, I didn't come to you like that. Right? He came with the simplicity of YAHAWASHI. It says, for I determined not to know anything among you save YAHAWASHI HaMASHAYACH and him crucified. He said, I was determined to be like, I don't know anything but YAHAWASHI. Right? Meaning that he kept the main thing. He made sure that the spotlight was only on YAHAWASHI and nothing else. Not on him, not on all his works, all the things that he went through, his experiences, but YAHAWASHI and his crucifixion, his ultimate sacrifice. And that's what we're supposed to be doing, man. We're supposed to make it all about YAHAWASHI. It's not about us, right? It's not about, I went through this, I got this, like how these guys, these different groups, they got all this drama. That don't got nothing to do with YAHAWASHI. I don't have nothing to do with forwarding the ministry and forwarding the word being preached. That only has to do with your ego, right? It has to do with your ego. It has to do with your personal life drama and all this madness, right? It says, and I was with you in weakness and in fear and in much trembling. And my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power. Right? We're not coming to you out of our own minds, trying to chase our own personal gain. We're not asking for any donations. I don't have my Cash App and PayPal sliding at the bottom of the screen. Right? I'm not saying, you know, subscribe to my Patreon. I don't have none of that. Brothers don't do any of that. Brothers is really here for Yahawashi and Yahawashi alone. And that's how we're supposed to be. It says that your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of Yahweh power. Plain and simple, man.
Just jumping down in 1 Corinthians 1:26 in the NLT. Remember, dear brothers and sisters, that few of you were wise in the world's eyes, or powerful or wealthy, when thy power called you. Instead, thy power chose things the world considers foolish in order to shame those who think they are wise. And he chose things that are powerless to shame those who are powerful. God chose things despised by the world, things counted as nothing at all, and used them to bring to nothing what the world considers important. And as a result, no one can ever boast in the presence of thy power. God has united you with MASHAYACH Yahawashi for our benefit. God made him to be wisdom itself. MASHAYACH made us right with God. He made us pure and holy when he freed us from sin. That's all.
Beautiful. Right? Actually, if you read verse 21 real quick.
21 in the NLT or the KJV?
You can read it.
Since God in his wisdom saw to it that the world would never know him through the human wisdom, he has used our foolish preaching to save those who believe.
Right. Like in the KJV, it says, by the foolishness of preaching. Because we look like fools out here, right? When we speak about this being the wisdom of the Most High, it don't look like wisdom to the ones that don't have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. We look crazy. We look like, oh, you got dresses on, right? You're out here, you know, talking about toting the Bible. Okay, talking about blacks are the real Jews and all that stuff. Yeah, we look crazy. Oh, you're gonna get superpowers. You're gonna get spiritual power. Yahawashi is gonna return. You're gonna get beamed up on a chariot. Well, the scriptures say by the strangeness of his salvation, right? The scriptures say in the sight of them, you know, that had us in captivity, that made no account of our labors. So this is filling the exact purpose that it was supposed to fulfill, right? And let's not even get started on, you know, Romans 3, 2 Ezra chapter 9, 2 Ezra chapter 15, where it says, so what if some did not believe? Does their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? Yahweh forbid, to let the Most High be true and every man a liar, right? It don't matter whether or not people believe it. It don't matter if we look crazy to the world and the people in the world. It don't matter if people want to cut us off and treat us like we're less than, shun us, excommunicate us. None of that matters to us. All that matters is that what we're speaking the true words of YAHAWASHI Yahawashi. If this counsel was of men, it would come to naught, but it's not going to come to naught, because this is of YAHAWASHI Yahawashi. Right? So the foolish things of this world, the lowly men, these so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans with the Bible in their hands, high school diplomas, high school dropouts, college dropouts, whatever, right, is really more wise and more integral than a top biblical scholar that dedicated his whole life to searching out the Bible and finding out the truth. And you come to find out, they don't really know anything, man. When you look at these text commentaries in a blue letter, you look at these words, and you break these things down, precept upon precept, line upon line, through the Holy Spirit, right? Subduing your own understanding and completely, fully giving yourself over unto the mind of YAHAWASHI Yahawashi, you realize that this right here, this is the truth that the apostles and elders of Great Millstone on down have been speaking, as well as the like-minded brethren and their elders before them, starting with the elder Abba Bivens, which is the Elijah and the reincarnation, the regeneration, if you can just see, you know, because we're nobodies in the world. We're nobodies. We're just normal guys. We go about our life, handling business, right, doing what we need to do, flying under the radar, right, and then we come out here with authority to boldly preach the gospel and the words of the Lord, and people is like, man, who are you? Right? Even amongst our own people, we're telling them, you're the Most High God's chosen people. He loves you. And this is for you. And this is for you to get right. It's for your benefit. They don't want to hear it. Well, Yahawashi said a prophet is not received in his own country. He don't have no honor in his own home. His own hometown, his own people amongst him, they don't respect him. Right? They said that about Yahawashi. Isn't that the carpenter's son? Right? That's the son of Joseph, right? And we seen him, we grew up with him around, and you since he was a child, man. What are you talking about? You the Messiah, you the anointed one, right? Hey, but that doesn't invalidate the allotment that the Most High set up for you. He told Jeremiah, don't say that you're a child and cannot speak. I'm going to put my words in your mouth, and I'm going to give you the spirit to prophesy and do the work, to fulfill your duty, your profession. So the foolish things of this world confound the wise. It makes these people out here look stupid. If you really have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, and you know the truth, it's these people that are crazy. We're the ones that are sane, humbly speaking. So real quick, I want to grab this in Galatians, right? Just to land back off that point. Galatians chapter 1 and verse 10 in the NLT. Obviously, I'm not trying to win the approval of people, but of the Most High. If pleasing people were my goal, I would not be Hamashiach's servant, right? Because Hamashiach didn't come here to please people. In fact, he pissed people off, man. People would call him a smart ass if he was here today. People would say that, oh, he got a potty mouth, he's disrespectful, he's rude. You see how he talked to his own mother, right? But not just for the sake of being rude, but because he was an austere man. He just didn't fuck around, That's the spirit that was on him. If he was here today, people wouldn't like him, man. Yahawashi wouldn't be a people pleaser, right? He'd be, quote unquote, stirring the pot, and nobody would get down with him. No one would follow him, right? He was controversial, right?
It was always with a good point. The scripture say, "Go after moving speech and not in knowledge."
Right.
Like everything that he would have brought out, it would have been enough to cut them, but also to build them up, and it would have been for them to listen to. But this place, like you said, they're not going to listen to them. They're just going to be hurt because they want to please their own flesh instead of actually, harkening back into the spirit.
Right. Instead of internalizing what's being said, they get in their emotions. They get offended.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, I don't want to hear that. I want you to tell me that the way I'm living is wrong. Especially with Eve. Like, you hear that all the time. Like, I don't want to change. Don't tell me to change. Right? Dealing with, you get with a woman. Shalom, brother. Tazadakta, YAHAWASHI, Barakatah. Right? But you get with a woman. She's like, don't try to change me. You knew what it was when you got with me. This is who I am. Blah, blah, blah. But you need to be willing to change. You need to be willing to improve because you have bad habits. You have defects of character, different flaws that you should have an open mind towards rectifying, right? But they see it as, you don't want me to be who I want to be, all right? You don't want me to live my life. They're all about women's liberation, freedoms, and all that. That's madness, man. Because the way we was living is wrong. The way we was living was off, man. We was thinking the wrong way, doing the wrong things. Brothers was committing fornication, adultery, polluting, defiling our temples, defiling our minds. We was so far gone. And Yahawashi, he was like, look, I'm gonna chastise you, I'm gonna beat you up, I'm gonna whoop that ass. Because you was off, I'm gonna punish you, but it's gonna make you better, it's gonna make you stronger, you're gonna learn from your mistakes, and you're not gonna do it no more. Right? So you need to be willing. You need a willing mind. These people out here, they don't have a willing mind. They for damn sure don't want to suffer for Yahawashi. We was just talking about that. We was walking over here. You have this dude that used to be in Sakari, Hassan, talking about the horseradish is too much. All right, I'm gonna eat some lettuce. Shalom, brother Isaiah. YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. You have Assad that used to be in Sakari talking about when I keep the Passover, I'm gonna use lettuce because the horseradish is too much. And that's incredibly wicked, bro. That's such a disrespectful thing to do because it shows that not only you don't respect our solemn assembly, our high holy day of the Passover, right? You're disrespecting what it represents. Right. You're disrespecting Yahawashi. If you're going against the head, that's our king. You're going against him, that's treason. He said, any that should not have me reign over them, bring them hither and slay them before me. Ultimately, you're appointing yourself as an enemy to Yahawashi. When you do things like that, that's very disobedient, very childish. All right, my woman could eat the horseradish as much as she hates it, she complains, but she did it. And you're a grown man. You're in a position of a so-called leader amongst Israel, right? You have a lot of subscribers, a lot of people following you, and you're showing forth a horrible example of what an Israelite man should be doing these last days and how he should be conducting himself. You gonna say something?
Yeah, I got Romans 8:6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please God. But ye are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit. If so be that the Spirit of God dwell in you. Now if any man have not the Spirit of Christ, he is none of his.
Right. Because you look, like that's a very carnally minded thing, carnally mind state to be in. And it ultimately goes into pleasing your flesh. See how simple the Lord keeps it? If you're not willing to suffer for Yahawashi on something as little as eating some horseradish during the Passover, it's one week out the year, right? Just eat some horseradish. And you can't even do that. That's too much for you. You got children in brothers' households eating the horseradish. You got women eating the horseradish, and you're a grown man and you can't do that. You know? That's enmity. Like I said, that's enmity. You're an enemy of Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi. Hey, yeah, call Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi. The brother Bayanash pulled up on me, man. You know? It's beautiful. You know, brothers in the building, man. Call Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi. Yeah. But yeah, that's to be carnal minded. Because if I'm like, well, you know, it's a little too hot out here, man. I don't want to stand out here for an hour doing a live lesson. 3 videos a week, you know, I don't really got time. I got work, I got this, I got to deal with the women, I got to deal with the kids, blah, blah, blah. You know, I get home from work, I'm tired, you know. Bro, that's carnally minded. That's pleasing your flesh. You need to be willing to go the extra mile. Hey, the brother Isaiah says shalom.
Yeah, shalom, bro.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All of y'all about But yeah, that's carnally minded. If I'm not willing to just come out, whether it's heat, whether whatever, endure the elements, man. You gotta endure the elements and just preach. The Lord doesn't require that much, right? He just wants you to be willing. He just wants you to be obedient. He's not telling you to break your back to preach the gospel. He's not telling you to kill yourself, right? He's not asking for your whole 24 hours, you know. Even though that wouldn't even be enough, but he's not even asking for that. He's asking for so little, and these men can't even do that. That's a carnal, wicked man right there, man.
This is 2 Corinthians 4:17. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory.
Right.
Can't even do that. Horseradish was your stumbling block.
Right, you're gonna bet your salvation on some horseradish. right? Or on getting lineups, wearing hats. You know, you can't even take off a hat. You see how carnal these dudes are. They're so worried about their appearance. They're so worried about how they look. They can't even take off a hat when they're doing lessons, when they're on the highways and hedges, they're doing live streams, when they're reading the scriptures. Just take your hat off. Bro, or just put a bandana on with the top open. You know, and I said it before, when I had my, you know, because every now and then I'd be cutting my hair all the way down, and I don't like how it looks, I'm gonna be honest. So I'd be putting a little bandana on. And that's all you gotta do. If you're really that insecure about your bald spot or how you look, there's things that you can do. The Lord gave us options.
Beautiful point. If all that is stopping you from being able to hearken unto the Lord, then there's a chance. Well, not a chance. And it's just gonna be the fact that crown's just not gonna fit on your head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the spirit. The brother just said that slow Billy is betting his crown on that. You're betting your crown on these little, really insignificant shit that don't matter. You're willing to give up your crown over a hat, over some horseradish. Bro, it's not even that big of a deal. But it is a big deal, because that is a testament of your lack of integrity and your lack of faith. That shows you that even for these little things, they're not even willing to sacrifice for Yahawadah. So what happens when we get to the big things? What happens when we get to that money being threatened, your bank account being threatened, your livelihood? What happens when the RFID CHIP is mandated? There's no way you're gonna make it. You can't even eat a little horseradish. You can't even take your hat off. You can't even be obedient to the Lord in these little things. You for damn sure are not going to be obedient when it comes to life or death, because that's what it's coming to. Okay, every day I'm realizing more and more we're not living to live our lives out here in Babylon, right? To make money, to retire, to enjoy ourselves. That's not what we're living for. We're living in a lifetime where America's going to fall, where the RFID CHIP, the mark of the beast, where prophecy is going to take place, and it's going that hour of temptation that's going to test all those upon the face of the earth. And you are either going to be willing to maintain your integrity, or you're going to go along and pledge your allegiance to Esau, Edom, in this beast system. Okay, it's going to get to a point of life and death. It's not going to stay this way for much longer. Okay, and it's going to be the ultimate test of your faith from the Lord. You have to understand the Lord is the one ultimately orchestrating all these things. In the grand scheme of things, it's His will being done. So when you understand that, you're more and more willing to be like, look, let's get it done. Let's get it done. I want the Lord's will to be done, and because I know what it means. It means salvation. It means that I'm going to be saved, and we're going to be the first fruits of the kingdom of heaven. But these people that don't have the foresight, that don't have the vision, and that don't have the spirit, all they see is Babylon. All they see is the money here. All they see is this society and how it's structured, how it works, and their place in this system. You know, that's why they're so invested in Babylon. They're so invested in the women, the money, right? The fame, the popularity, the subscribers, and this and that. They're so invested in that because they don't. I mean, the guy came out and said we could be here for another 1,000 years. That means that he does not have a sense of urgency whatsoever. He is fully invested in where he is at right now. He's enjoying himself, and that's all he cares about.
Not only that, he's not paying attention. Clearly, the state of the world right now, that's not how that's moving at all. With all these tariffs and China backing away from deals and whatnot, and Elon Musk with this chip.
Right, Neuralink.
Yeah, he's not paying attention that this shit is coming through fast.
Quickly approaching the end, because, and I say it sometimes like, look, you don't even have to believe in the truth. You can see as an average Babylonian, as an average, you know, worldly person, that America is crumbling. You don't even have to believe in the words of the Lord to see that, you know, life is about to get worse. That we're approaching, you know, famine, food shortages. We're approaching lockdown, more lockdowns, martial law, World War III. And you don't, bro, like, you literally don't even have to believe in the truth to see that your life is not going to go the way that you hope it's going to go. There's no more American dream. That shit's over with, you know? So that's why it's like, look, your best bet is to worship YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, to get right, repent, you know, and to diligently seek Him and hope to be of the elect. That's your best bet. That's the only thing that makes sense. And when it comes to our people, it's like they're so invested in this place, they're willing to bet their lives on it. You know, they're willing to throw their lives away behind Esau, Edom, and his system. You think about it, like, if we're wrong, well, we're still through. If we're wrong, somehow, God forbid, of course we're not wrong. But in a bizarre world where we're somehow wrong, we're done. We're doomed. Jake, as a people, we're through. There's no saving us. There's no getting better. There's no getting out of this hell that we're in. We're done. You know, life is just going to continue. That's fake. But life is going to continue. The same slavery that you've been living, chasing a rap career, SoundCloud rapper, or chasing the NBA contract, chasing trying to be an actor, trying to do this and that. Okay, it's going to continue on that way until you die. That's a pitiful existence, right? No big deal. But if we're right and you continue the way you're living, you're done. It's over for you. It's even worse than you can imagine, because the Lord is going to torment you to death. Like it says in 2 Ezra chapter 9. If we're right, y'all are fucked, man. Which we are right. Spoiler alert. So it's bad news for you. Like how brothers say, bro, whether you're in the world or you're in the truth, we suffer as a nation. We suffer either way. So you're willing to suffer for wickedness and to ultimately be put to death by pain? Or are you going to be willing to suffer for righteousness with the hope of immortality, with the hope of salvation? That's the path that we need to be on, man. The Lord's will. But let me finish this real quick in Galatians 1 in the NLT, verse 11. Dear brothers and sisters, I want you to understand that the gospel message I preach is not based on mere human reasoning. I received my message from no human source, and no one taught me. Instead, I received it by direct revelation from Yahawadah HaMashiach, right? And Apostle Paul is the only one that could say that, man. That's Apostle Paul, showing you that he wasn't preaching nothing contrary to what Yahawashi commanded the apostles to preach. Go not unto the way of the Gentiles, neither enter into any of the way of the Samaritans, but go unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He said that over and over, and he told the apostles to do the same thing. So the Gentiles in the New Testament, those were Israelites that were following the ways, the customs, and the lifestyles of the heathen, that were grown up in Gentile state of mind, but they're really Israelites. Their bloodline goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, just like us. That's literally us. We're here in America, all the way on the other side of the world, growing up as a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, right? Following the customs of the heathens, the natural Gentiles. But are we actually Gentiles? No. We're Israelites in a Gentile state of mind, Hellenized, right? That's all there was. So, just like Apostle Paul said, you know, this didn't come by human reason. It didn't come by the will of man, but he did everything according to the commandments of Yahweh, following in the footsteps of our Lord and Savior, Yahawadah. You know, Tom, you got it.
Ecclesiasticus 37:27. My son, prove thy soul in thy life, and see what is evil for it, and give not unto them. For all things are not profitable for all men, neither hath every soul pleasure in everything. That mentality of trying to make it work in this world it's just not going to work. Coming into this truth, having that understanding of the scriptures shows you the reality of the world that you live in. This whole place is against you. Everything is a snare in this place. So trying to trust Esau and try to get a bag from him, it comes with a price, a costly price. All your athletes and rappers and all of them, they had to do vile things just to be able to get that bag.
Right. Yeah, they had to
bend over.
Yeah, essentially they had to get booty busted, man. And they got recorded so Esau can use it against them if they get out of line. That's the dirt that Esau got on all these rappers, all these actors, actresses. You be a damn fool to willingly give yourself over into Hollywood, because you through, you're done. You know, like the brothers. Yeah, you got.
Think about how much worse it probably is what the women got to do. Oh. Because what this world already is willing to accept women to do. How much worse? I mean, you already got these women out here flying all the way to Dubai just to get cracked on for a bag. What are they gonna do in Hollywood to really shame you?
Right. I mean, you could look at you know, the female rappers. Every female rapper, they have to be sexualized. There's not a single one that's not sexualized, twerking, making all these vile, disgusting songs. Halle Berry, complete harlot, passed around. All these actors, wives. It's like everyone has to. They have to like share wives or something. They get married for like a year, they divorce, move on to the next. What's that one chick's name? It was one chick. She got married to a bunch of different guys.
J-Lo.
Well, her too, but it was somebody more recent.
More recent?
No, I forgot her name.
What's she been? Actress? Or?
I don't even know. I think she's just a model or like Bailey or Chloe Bailey.
Chloe Bailey.
Something like that. It's like two of them. It's like sisters.
She married and pregnant by DDG, I think.
Yeah. I don't know if it's them. It's somebody that they get passed around, man.
There is a woman. I know we can talk.
It's like I can picture what she looks like in my head, but I don't know her name.
Yeah.
But they pretty much get passed around. They got to do all these vile acts. They got to go to these parties. They got to make these appearances. For sure.
They be getting passed around left, right, and center. All over the place.
That's another one I didn't even know about. That's another one. And you see Tracy Ellis Ross. That might be, but she's actually Edomite anyway. But that's Hollywood for you. They do it to everybody, not even just Jake. That's how they get down. Period. You know. What you have to do, you have to be subject to all these nasty things, man. And that's a part of their idolatry. When you go into these parties, they be engaging in these rituals. They be doing these things. You have Marina Abramovich, I think her name is, and there's a spirit cookie where you set up like a fake dead body, human body, and they're cutting out pieces of it, serving it to the people like cake. They showed you that with the Doja Cat's birthday party. She shaved her head. She was looking like a complete demon. They had the Marina woman spirit cooking, doing this weird cannibalism ritual. And people still think it's a conspiracy, but they're just showing you right to your face. They're showing it right in your face. Right.
It means something else. It means it's witchcraft.
Literally. Well, they're saying, oh no, they have creative freedom. That's just how they want to express themselves.
Don't think so seriously.
Right. You're a conspiracy theorist and blah, blah, blah. No, man, they're showing you that this is how they get down. And that's what you got to consent to if you want to be a part of it. Otherwise, they're going to clip your ass, man. What did they do to what's his name? Isaac Cappy, that was being a whistleblower, and all these other guys. They clipped their ass, man. They got rid of him. when they tried to speak out on what was going on behind closed doors and on these islands and things like that. You know, trying to keep it covered up.
That dude with that was on that show with That's So Raven, I forgot his name. But
Orlando,
he bugged the hell out.
Yeah, he's man.
Good Lord.
He was on drugs. Hey, the Disney, the kid star to drug addiction pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
They all end up the same way, looking like ghouls and goblins when they get older. You know, Amanda Bynes, yeah. Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
You know, or they just end up bugged out in some way or another. Raven Simone turned into a damn lesbian, colored hair, shaved side of her head. Just weird, man. Just weird. You know? And that happens every single time. And one way, even if, and you could look at, Jay-Z and Beyonce. Because some celebrities, they still look pretty good, but that's because they all the way invested. They're fully immersed in this. Them some, I guess you would call it high level witches and warlocks. You know, they fully immerse themselves in Esau Edom's weird, satanic system. Versus these other ones probably is like their consciousnesses is condemning them. You know, they resort to all these crutches like drugs, like alcohol, and their bodies is deteriorating. They look all messed up. That's what it did to them. Versus someone like Jay-Z and Beyonce, who was like, you know what? Yeah, let's just. I'm with it. I'm all the way with it. With Diddy, he was all the way with it. He was a top dog. Conducting these parties and these freak offs. He was all the way with it. But even then, look at what happened to him, man. Now, we don't got no more use for you. You're not the most influential. You're not you're not a super, top guy like Jay-Z. You're not a superstar like Beyonce. You don't have sway over the women, over the children. So we're just gonna use you as a scapegoat. We're gonna go ahead and get rid of you to cover up, everyone else's ass. I show you, like, even you could think you're on top of the world, right? But once Esau has used you, he's gonna bring you out twice or thrice, like the scriptures say, and then toss you away. He's gonna use you like a rag and then throw you out, But that's what awaits you when it comes to Esau. Anything to do with Babylon, anything to do with this system, what awaits you is you're going to be chewed up and spit out. Let's put up Psalms chapter 10, verse 10. HALALYAM 10 and 10. He croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. Right? And Jake, come out the hood. They come out of these impoverished situations, and they're chasing, this dream. They're chasing a way out, and Esau Edom promises a way out by, hey, well, I'm gonna give you this contract. You're gonna go on tour. People are gonna be cheering, screaming your name. But I need that ass. But I need this and that, and you gotta do this and that, and you gotta go on Instagram and post this every now and then, and forward our agenda, and make sure that you're influencing your people. That's how Esau gets down. He don't give nothing in an honest manner. It's always an ulterior motive, and it's always your integrity and your dignity is always the cost. It's always the price to pay. Again, that's why it's all leading to Revelation 13 and 16. I was just watching this show on Netflix, man. I would love to make a video about it. But brothers should watch the show The Truth. Right? It's called no, not The Truth. The Trust. The Trust on Netflix, where basically it's another game show but this time you don't have to vote anyone off. It's $250,000. It's The Trust. If everyone stays by the end of the game, by the end of however many days, then everyone gets an equal amount of the trust, split amongst them. But you can vote out people to get them out of the way, to make them go home with nothing, and so that you can get a bigger share. The less people, the more money you get. And I recommend brothers watch that, because you had Jake, right? He got, well, it's a low-key spoiler, but it's the first episode, right? Jake got voted off first, of course, because Jake was trying to be upright. Jake was trying to be honest and share it. He got voted out. Then you had Eve, man. Eve was a menace, you know, trying to get all the money, trying to do her thing, talking about I'm here for the bag and blah blah blah. And just throughout the show, when you watch it, you know, it's going to be it's going to be a lot of spiritual parallels. And the main thing is, well, you could say, well, because I think about it like, man, if brothers was on a game show, if brothers was together on a game show, then it would be like, okay, let's vote everybody out. Let's keep this shit for ourselves. I'm not gonna lie, right? That's just what I, you know, being honest, that's what I probably think about. Like, you know, these people in the world, it's very obvious that we're in the truth. Of course, we're gonna be Clark Kent on the show and careful what we say, but it's gonna be like, if you were the brothers and y'all know each other and everyone else is strangers and whatever, you're gonna team up, you're gonna make your own little alliance, and you're gonna vote everybody out and keep the money to both of you. But it's still a parallel, like, well, on the show, you got all these strangers, and, you know, when it comes to the people, the right thing to do would be to share it. Don't vote anyone out, and share it. Be kind to each other, right? That's the moral thing to do. You know, and you know, that's the moral thing to do. That's the right thing to do. But that shows you what people are willing to do, how they're willing to let others suffer and have nothing to line their pockets. They're willing to take these different offers and do these different things in order to make money. People really worship money, mammon, right? So that's why I'm like, bro, watching that show is like, wait until the RFIDC hit is mandated, because that is the last major prophecy before we are out of here. That's the hour of temptation, because Esau is going to incentivize you to take it. He's going to threaten you, right? If you take it, they're going to give you universal basic income. You don't even really need to work. You're going to live in a 15-minute city. You're going to get money every month. You're going to be well taken care of. All your medical records, your ID, right? You'll be able to be a part of this new system, this new world that we're building. But if you don't take it, you're going to be excommunicated. Your livelihood's going to be ruined. You won't be able to take care of your family. No housing, right? No being able to go to the grocery stores, buy or sell. You know, carbon emissions being tracked, so on and so forth. Everyone's going to take that shit, dude. Everyone, because they don't have integrity, let alone faith in the Most High. That's why the apostles and elders on down have been pushing the prophecy of the chip hard body, because that's what it's really all leading to. That's what it's all about. Don't take that chip. But it's going to be easier said than done. You know?
From that system, it's crazy that you brought up the these Disney kids from like child actor to drug addict pipeline, because not too long ago, what's her name? That white girl from anyway, this dude Dan Schneider, he's an executive with Nickelodeon. For the longest time, the logo of Nickelodeon was a foot. And this man is known for having this foot fetish and making all these kids do all this wild stuff.
Yeah.
To the point where The girl that plays Sam in iCarly, she wrote a book about how her mom. It said something like, "I'm glad my mom's dead." I think that's the book name. She was so happy about the fact that, you know what, my mom put me into this. Basically, had to do some dirty stuff with these executives and whatnot. Because what happens is they separate the family. They don't go in together inside of those buildings. No, they gonna send a little, like, 8 to 12-year-old little girl in a room with a grown-ass man behind locked doors. What else do you think is gonna happen? And on top of that, that's who this world trusts so much. Oh, just ignore it, just so that we can get a little bit of this. And that's that same mentality they're gonna have with this chick. Just ignore this little thing. It'll be all right. You get broken over that bad just to have a little bit of fame. And it's not even a righteous fame. And that's why we're waiting on the Lord, because He's going to give us the righteous fame over the entire earth. But these people want to they're choosing Esau as their God when they go ahead and get that chip. That's their salvation. But we're going to see.
Yeah, literally. People don't understand. People don't understand that everyone has faith in something. Right, you may say, "Oh, I don't believe in God. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in any God." No, but you have faith in something, and more often than not, people have faith in the so-called white man. They have faith in money. They have faith in themselves, which ultimately these philosophies, these ideologies, come from the so-called white man anyway. Right. So when it comes to this man orchestrating, chaos, and then introducing order out of that chaos. When it comes to your livelihood being threatened, there not being any food, any more, currency as we know it, but everything going digital. Okay, when it comes to martial law troops, these FEMA camps, detention centers, and things like that, essentially you're going to be professing the so-called white man, Esau Edom, to be your God. Because you're going to put all your trust, all your faith in him when push comes to shove. Like how you always hear, people say, well, as soon as you get in trouble, then you start calling on God, right? Even an atheist will be like, oh my God, I never prayed before, but God, if you're real, help me out, and blah, blah, blah. They always resort to God, right? Yep. Well, they're going to resort to the so-called white man. But it's going to be easy for them to do that because they've been doing that willingly this whole time. See, brothers, we try to avoid Esau Edom. We try to avoid his hospitals. We're trying to get into the herbs. We're trying to learn for ourselves how to take care of our health, right? We're trying to avoid, brothers, we damn sure don't want to call the police, right? We try to stay out of trouble, period, right? Brothers try to avoid, having to rely on the government for everything. Brothers try to be self-sufficient as best as we can in this society. But these people, they've been dependent on the government the whole time. They've been aligned with Esau Edom's philosophies and his ways of life. They've been aligned with all the wickedness of this world. So when that beast system gets implemented, it's going to be easy for them to move over and obey the so-called white man.
And I got a scripture for that. Proverbs 1:22. How long, ye simple ones, will you love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and the fools hate knowledge. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. Because I have called, and ye have refused. I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded. But ye that have not all my counsel, and would none of my reproof. I will also laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as a desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you. They shall call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but will not find me.
Right, because it's going to come a point in time where the Lord is going to remove his spirit off the planet Earth, and only the ones that had it in the first place, that seek the Lord while he may be found, right? They're the only ones that are going to be left with the Spirit of the Lord at that point. The word's not going to be out here preached freely, okay? Because brothers are going to get persecuted and taken up off the streets. The Bibles is going to be banned. They're already trying to ban it, right? Ain't going to be no freedom of speech. Ain't going to be none of that. There's going to come a point in time where if you don't have the Lord, if you ain't had the Lord when it was available, when he was available, you're not going to ever get a chance to get him again, right? Of course, until the kingdom of heaven is established, right? So that's why we say we have a sense of urgency now. It ain't going to be no extra 1,000 years. And even if it is, we still are in a spirit of urgency. We're in a spirit of make no tarrying to turn to the Lord. Put not off from day to day. Because you don't know when the day of visitation is going to be. If the Lord wanted to fast track it to tomorrow, in the next hour, right? He just has everything just get fast tracked. It's a nationwide announcement. Take the RFID, see him now. Everything's going digital. Boom, World War III starts. They start drafting people. Boom, the missiles is shooting across the sky. The Lord could fast track it within the hour now. He could do that if he wanted to do it tomorrow, today, right? So regardless, we have to stay. That's why the scripture saying Habakkuk 2, that he may run that readeth these things, for these are faithful and true sayings. We have to be in a state of faith. That's what it is. It's faith. Because if you're able to put it off from day to day, and you're like, well, I still got this amount of time. Well, I'll do it last minute. You got a test coming up on Friday, and it's Monday. Man, I'm chilling. And then you got to cram all your studying in on Thursday night, right? Just to hit the deadline. Well, the Lord's not dealing with no deadline. He's dealing with those that are paying attention, being watchful of the prophecies, and faithfully obeying him now and sacrificing their time unto him. Not playing around, wasting time, not taking the Lord seriously. No, it's right now.
That's what this is here right now. It would please our flesh very nicely for us to be at home, watching TV, chilling, relaxing, doing whatever with the room. But we out here prophesying the end of this place, man. We want to go home.
Right.
And the Lord's only dealing with Lord willing us that want to go home, that are willing to suffer for the Lord.
Right. Micah 2:10, it says, arise ye and depart, but this is not your rest, for it is polluted, it will destroy you, even with the sword destruction. So Lord's will, we're not of those that are corrupt, that are carnally minded, that are comfortable here in captivity. You're comfortable with another man over you. You're comfortable not having autonomy over the affairs of your life, over your family, over your wealth. You're comfortable not even having wealth. You're comfortable with your people being in the condition that they're in. And not just financial, but mentally, our people are through.
The comfort of having this place is crazy, because in this world, your woman has an exit strategy with the government. Oh, they'll take care of me. They'll go ahead and make you have to pay more for me. You got to get out the house. You got to pay me, and I can do whatever. Not only that, with your children, they go to school. Somebody's over there trying to tell them, hey, don't tell your parents, but let's go ahead and cut your junk off.
Right.
And stuff like.
Oh my God. I was thinking about that when it comes to the women.
Yeah.
Because people talk about, getting divorced, and it's never too late to find love. You got these old women, aunties on TikTok, thirst trapping. Because they believe that they have not even they believe, they don't need to believe. The option was given to them. They have their pick of the litter. They can do whatever they want to do, no matter how old they are. There's always going to be some dude, some pervert that desires them, right? So they don't have to stay committed in the relationship or in their marriage. They can just divorce and do whatever they want to do. When the way the Lord set it up, there's laws surrounding that, of course, but you're not supposed to be in a mindset where, I have options. I don't need to commit to this because I can always start over. I can always do this and that. First of all, it's about the mindset that that lack of commitment. Because when you get with somebody, you're supposed to stick with him. It's really supposed to be till death do us part for real, right? And especially women, they're not supposed to have multiple husbands, multiple sex partners. You're supposed to be with the first man that took your virginity, and you stay with him forever, unless he perishes, right? But then, really, it's the brother goes in unto you to raise up children for him, if he didn't have any, right? But only if your husband dies and you remarry. But they're in the mindset of, you know, I have options. I can just start over. I can do this and that. No, man, you're supposed to be committed. You're not supposed to look at somebody as an option. You're not supposed to have, women are not supposed to have the free reign to just, and men neither. You're not supposed to just divorce your wife and be like, well, I want to marry somebody else. And that's another problem. Men should have multiple wives if they want, you know? Because that is actually good. It is actually a lot of benefits and positives for a man to have multiple wives, okay? For the nation, for the relationship, there's benefits. There's very real, tangible benefits to that, right? But in general, people shouldn't have the mindset of, I can just leave this off and then start over somewhere else. I can do whatever I want to do because I have options. That's off, man.
It's a selfish mindset, this place. The whole American dream is based on what you want, not the purpose that you need to fulfill.
Right.
So you tell that whole stay with the first man that you were with. You tell that to the average woman here, and they say, and it says, oh, if he dies, then I can go ahead and remarry. Their mindset is going to be, oh, let me go ahead and kill him, so I can go ahead and remarry. It's just folly after folly, just carnal-minded. This whole place got to go.
Right. These, like it says in Habakkuk, his ways, referring to the wicked, so-called white man, Esau, his ways are as death, and he cannot be satisfied. It's like hell, meaning the grave, because the grave don't never get tired of taking bodies, man. You'll never run out of space in the earth to bury the dead. They're going to decompose, they're going to return to the dust, you know? And that's the mindset that the people are in, because they've taken after the current ruler, Esau, Edom. So they're in a mindset of wicked abundance. I got options. I can live my life however I want to live it, YOLO, and blah, blah, blah. And that's off, man. You're supposed to cherish and work on what you have. Take care of what you have. And then just throw it away and start over. That's off, man. But this is Amos, or Amos, chapter 9 and verse 9. It says, for lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Yasharallah among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. So, I went into this a little bit ago, but when you're sifting, you know, when you're sifting grain, for example, usually when you're sifting something, you want the fine things that fall out, and you want to leave those clumps, you want to throw those clumps away. But in this similitude, when the Lord is speaking about sifting the house of Israel amongst all nations, because we're scattered, it's like the Lord is putting all nations in a sieve, and then he's sifting us, right? The ones that are left in the sieve, that's the elect. So it's kind of reversed, because it said, I'll sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. So the Lord is separating the wheat from the tares, right? The wheat is being kept. The tares is all falling out and being blown away. He's not dealing with that. He's dealing with the ones that are able to withstand that sifting process. So that's beautiful. Then he says, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. Right, they're fearless of the Lord. They don't fear YAHAWASHI and YAHAWASHI. It says, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. So this is the house of David being rebuilt. This is the process of the house of David being established and firmly planted and rooted in the planet Earth. This time to never fall, never be broken down, never be compromised or breached ever again. Because we're going to be this is the elect that the Lord is dealing with. And we're going to be all righteous. You know?
And to further push that point, the definition of sift is literally to examine something thoroughly so as to isolate that which is most important or useful.
Man, that's beautiful. Keeping the ones that are most important, the ones that are most useful. That's the process. The sifting process that the Lord is putting us through is getting rid of the bullshit and keeping the like it says in 2 Ezra 9. Matter of fact, let me grab that. 2 Ezra chapter 9. For the Lord is cold, man. The Lord don't play around. It should be around verse I don't know, 20 something, where it says, "Let my grape be kept, my plan."
Yeah. So I start at 20.
Start where it's 22.
Where it's 22.
Start up a little bit, like 2 or 3 verses.
This is 2 Ezra 9:20. So I considered the world, and behold, there was peril because of the devices that would come into it. And I saw, and I spared it greatly, and have kept me a grape of the cluster, and a plant a grape of the people. Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain, and let my grape be kept, and my plant, for with great labor I have made it perfect.
Let the multitude perish then, that was born in vain. The Lord considers them vanity, man. They're nothing. All right, they're good for nothing, so let them perish. Like how the scriptures did that similitude of the evil figs. They're so evil they cannot be eaten, but they're rotten. You can't do nothing but just throw it to the fire, dispose of it, right? But the grape, right, of the cluster, imagine that, a whole cluster of grapes, and the Lord is only keeping one. He's only dealing with one, right? Like how these fancy restaurants, it's hella like expensive, high quality food, which I feel like it's a fad anyway, but just for the example, high quality, high class, expensive food, and it's some little ass portion, right? But they done decorated it, they done turned it into some Instagrammable shit. Essentially, that's what the Lord is doing with this one grape of the cluster, right? He's dicing it up, he's, garnishing it on that plate, making it look real nice with one grape. That's what the Lord is doing with the elect. Out of all the house of Israel and out of all the world, dealing with he's just dealing with the elect, right? And he's making us perfect, thoroughly furnishing us, making us perfect unto all good works, like it says in 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16 and 17. That's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, scripture laying back that point. This is Jeremiah 3:14. Turn back, O backsliding children, saith Yahweh, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion.
Right. And with that remnant.
He's not dealing with everybody. He's sifting everybody, only taking the important. One out of the city and two of a family. That's who really is important. And ain't it going to be everybody?
Yeah, our head brother Yahawadah said that a couple times. Like, think about that. In all of Orlando, in all of Florida, shit, all of Florida, it's only that happens all the time. They be desperate out here, fiending, But that reminds me of the scripture. I've never seen the righteous begging bread. And that's up to that point. Yeah, right. But the Lord ain't gonna have us out there like that, man. The Lord gonna. It says be even as pilgrims on the earth, but man, the Lord gonna take care of us, man. Like how the prophets were fed with ravens before, and the Lord rained down manna from heaven. He gonna take care of us, man. That's a beautiful thing. That we're not in the condition that these people of the world are in. YAHAWASHI. But man, what was I saying?
About being sifted.
Yeah. Right. The brother Yahawadah, he'd be saying, like, in all of Orlando, it's only a couple of us out of all these thousands, millions of people, it's only a couple people that are thinking about Yahweh Shem Yahawashi. It's only a small remnant, a small group of men.
It's 20 something million people in Florida, and he only got a couple, probably maybe like 50 people that are actually about him in this state.
20-something million in the state of Florida alone.
That's crazy. But that's the Lord.
Man.
Let me see if I can find it.
You know, they be talking about. Yeah. But you know, I mean, they be talking about statistics when they deal with the census and numbering people, like, oh, 1 in every 5 people. Well, that saying, you know, 1 in a million. It's not even 1 in a million. It's even smaller. It's like a decimal point number when it comes to the men of the Lord. Out of all these people, that's a precious thing.
144,000 out of 8 billion.
Right, 144. That's small, bro. That's a small number of people.
And some of them are already in the spiritual realm.
Right.
So your chance, what is it? 12,000 of every tribe.
Right.
Your chances are like Brother Nahal be saying, you have a higher chance of winning the lottery than accepting this truth.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
It really is for everybody. So
Yahawadah.
we are in this thing.
Yeah.
Sincerely.
I don't know, like the scriptures say, those that have gathered faith for a treasure. Because everybody don't have faith, man. Only the elect has faith. And that's significant. That's not no small thing. You know?
Not having a stumbling block of some using lettuce during the Passover.
Madness, man. It's straight madness.
Your Lord died for you. You can't just that hurt, bro.
That's crazy. And you know, I think about how Saint Peter, you know, the Lord even told him, look, you're gonna deny me 3 times, man.
But that's a perfect point of how that little stumbling block. You know damn well he's not feeling nothing during the Day of Atonement.
Right.
Not a single thing.
Yeah.
Not
Right,
a single. Not a single tear for Yahawadah having to sweat blood just so that you can have a chance. He don't care.
You probably drink water during the Day of Atonement. I wouldn't be surprised. You know? But man, Saint Peter, that's huge, man. Not a lot of men. None. Hey, brothers probably couldn't come back from something like that, man. Denied him 3 times, and he realized that he broke down. You know, but he still had to come back from that and be like, no, man, Lord, forgive me. I want to serve you. I want to keep going. You know, ultimately it was the will of the Lord being done, showing you that, you know, even the elect men have went off, have fucked up, have hurt the Lord, because we've all let the Lord down. We've all hurt him.
Like King Solomon.
Right.
Let his heart be
When he went off in his old age, right? Or even King David. He went off a couple times, especially that main one being the adultery and the ultimately the murder of Uriah, right? But the fact that it's because of Yahawashi. That's how much Yahawashi loves us. It's because of him that even with those very heinous, you know, mistakes that we've made and we're going to make, because we're in the flesh, we're going to go off until the kingdom, man. We can still come back from it. The Lord is still forgiving us. You know, we're still in that grace period. We're under grace. That's mercy, man. So why wouldn't you want to do your best to please him? Do your best to show him, I'm sorry, and I want to serve you, and I want to be delivered, and I want to be your brother, your friend. Versus these guys like, man, you really just don't give a shit. You really just don't give a damn about the Lord.
Provoking the Lord. Why would you provoke the arbiter of everything? Everything that exists is because of him. Why would you provoke him?
They really have no fear. Because your ass is going to pay that rent on time, man. You might even pay it early. as soon as you get enough money. Because you don't want to get homeless. You don't want to get evicted. You're fearful of getting evicted and being homeless, right? You're fearful of you losing your job, right? So you letting the manager, your boss, say whatever the hell he wants to you, talk down on you, disrespect you, right? You're letting all this shit slide in the world because you're worried about making that money, pleasing your woman, letting her be insubordinate and talk all kinds of shit and disobey your authority. You let all types of shit slide in the world. But when it comes to YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, you're not willing to do even the smallest thing.
Hebrews 12:5, and ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If ye endure chastening, God dealeth with you as sons. For what son is he that whom the Father chasteneth not? But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then ye are bastards and not sons.
Right.
And if you're trying to avoid your own punishment, you're trying to avoid salvation. Like we were saying, if that wearing a hat during preaching is not wearing a hat during preaching is too much for you, if eating the horseradish is too bitter for you, again, that crown won't fit. You won't fit in that throne. You won't be a part of that number.
Yeah.
Because you can't just deal with, this is what I need to, I messed up, I need to listen to the Lord. But you want to do your own thing, relying on your own understanding.
When it all boils down to is, you really hate YAHAWASHI. And I used to think hate was a strong word, but it's not. That's essentially what it is. Like how the scriptures would speak about, therefore, this other wife that Jacob didn't necessarily want, she was hated. Esau hated his birthright. It uses the word hate pretty loosely. Whereas in the world, they say hate is a strong word. I don't have enough energy to hate somebody. No, you do. You have plenty of energy, and when you don't love someone, you hate them, right? It's not really I'm just indifferent. I don't even care about you. Yeah, you can be indifferent, but you still hate them. Because for example, if somebody is gay, and we know that being gay is a sin, right? That's sodomy. That's against the scriptures. You need to be put to death for that. If I love my cousin, that's a sodomite, I'm gonna be like, look, the Lord is not with that, bro. These are all the detriments to being a sodomite. This is gonna kill you. Not only that, the Lord is gonna put you to death for that if you continue that lifestyle. And I'm talking to him, and I'm loving him by doing that, because I want what's best for him. I don't want him to continue in sin.
You hate the sin within him, but
right.
You still show him love.
Right. If I hated him, I wouldn't even say nothing. I'd be like, man, live your life. Be proud of who you are. It's good to do that.
That's having an evil eye towards the man.
Essentially.
Like if you're not teaching.
Right. Because you want him to die. Essentially, you want him to die.
That's putting more blood on your hands by not giving him what he needs to hear. And at that point, if he's rejecting it, then that's on him. You're making yourself blameless.
Right. Then you like, okay, well, whatever the Lord wants for you, it's in his hands. Then you're like, all right, go ahead. Right? But that you show that you do love him by correcting him, by wanting what's best for him, by wanting him to be better. Right? So the people in the world, they really hate the Most High. They really hate YAHAWASHI. You Israelites, like Hassad, like Elazar, like Hakab, like Bishop Nate, like all these other, General Yohana, Tazariak, anybody that is not preaching the full truth, especially in your position, you really hate YAHAWASHI. Because if you loved him, you'd use the true name, you'd preach the full truth, you wouldn't be hiding behind all these gimmicks, you wouldn't be doing this thing for filthy lucre's sake, for your own benefit, right?
That dude almost got ran over.
Yeah. These damn spirits is out here, man. Yeah. Judgment's going to ramp up in these last days, man.
Like you were saying. you gotta really hate the Lord if you know the truth and you are just willing to abide by that 501c3 code to misguide your own people. Like,
Right.
that's one hell of a judgment that you finna receive for knowing better and teaching the wrong thing on purpose, just so that you could build your table in captivity under someone else over you, bro.
Exactly.
Shit is stupid.
You literally hate the Lord. Literally, you hate the Lord. You know? So hate's not as strong a word as the world would like you to believe. Okay? If you don't love somebody, then you hate them. It's that simple. That's why we are out here telling the whole world, namely, you know, because we do hate the heathens, don't get me wrong. We do hate our enemies, of course. But it is an act of love through the Spirit of YAHAWASHI that we come out here to warn everybody of the judgment that's coming, to rebuke everyone from their wrongdoings, the ways of life that they're engaging in, the things that they're partaking in. Okay? That isn't, this is literally the highest form of love. It's to lay our bodies down as living sacrifices. There's no greater love than any man. For greater love hath no man than him that laid his life down for his friends. And that, our chiefest example was Yahawashi, the ultimate sacrifice for the nation of Israel. And so likewise, we're doing the same thing because we really, truly love our people. But right now, that love is really only for the elect. It just has to be that way, you know?
How could you know? That's what I don't understand about these other camps, man. How could you know that the Lord says ye are gods and still not have the love and understanding? Hold on, wait. You telling me when you come back, I'm going to be above everybody, already going to be perfect. Not everybody else will be, but I will be. And on top of that, I'll be a smaller version of you. I'll be perfect. I have the spiritual power and whatnot. And you want to throw that away just so that you can live it up here and not. There's no truth. When you, like you were saying, when you love something, you put all your effort into it. That's why striving to wisdom is likened to loving a woman. That love, when you chasing that when you chase the Lord, that actively seek Him, you're showing the Lord that you don't want this place, that there's nothing here for you. The only thing, like you said, the only plan is Yahawadah. That's because in that time when Jacob's trouble started popping off, all those people that got, I just did a video about that yesterday, about these people that want to have all these bug out bags and rations of food and whatnot. All that, you gathering all that stuff, you just waiting for the person with the bigger stick to come by and just take it from you. Our hope is Yahawadah. He's going to provide. Like you said, he had manna rain down, you know? The Lord will provide in all areas, and to ignore all of that just so you can still try to have it, even though you know what's going down. Again, you really gotta hate the Lord. You really gotta hate life.
Because, like, you gotta be bugged out to put your faith in this place. And like the brother said, you really must hate the Lord because He's giving you a way out. He's giving you protection. He's showing you love. And you turning your back on it. You really spitting in His face. Lying on His name. Lying on His image. That's crazy. That is actually insane. But, hey, going back to how they lack fear. They don't fear the Lord. They fear man. They fear woman. They fear Esau. They don't fear the Lord. Because the Lord is in control of all this. The Lord daily loads us with benefits. Nothing happen unless the Lord wills it. Because brothers be paycheck to paycheck, bro. Brothers don't be making a lot. And the rent still get paid somehow. Because at this point, I've been through it so much, right? Because we need repetition. That's how the Lord teaches us, right? And we're in the flesh, so it's a process for our faith to be built up. So that all the times I went through it, now I understand that trust has been built. Like, I don't care what the paychecks is looking like. I know the Lord gonna get this shit paid because, and you need a roof over your head. You need this and that in order to serve the Lord. And he's going to give you everything you need in order to serve him. Proverbs 30, feed me with food convenient for me. Give me not too much, give me not too little. Let me be balanced, give me enough. And the Lord going to do it every time. So let me read this real quick. This is Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 23, verse 19. Such a man only feareth the eyes of men. These guys, I want to wear their hats and look good and wear the fringes. I wear every single fringe, even when I'm in the house, rapping about Hebrew and the Hellcat, and walking into the Passover, doing a Passover fashion show, walking in on a horse, doing all this Photoshop, got fire and all this stuff, right? But brothers is believing in comic books, and we're the ones that believe in a fairy tale. We're the ones that are crazy. When these guys is literally getting Photoshop pieces done of them, brothers not taking pictures of themselves and doing all this Photoshop. We just use anime images and different comic book images and things like that to give a visual for edification. But these guys is actually using pictures of themselves and having it edited with the glowing eyes and fire in their hands. They got the nice ass garments with the girdles, decked out, gold, the boots on, everything. They look good. Don't get me wrong, they look good. But that just shows you that they only fear the eyes of men. Because they're trying hard to look good. The whole purpose is for them to look good in the eyes of men. To look all sophisticated, like, yeah, we're not like them other guys with the long garments on the highways and hedges, screaming at people. No, we're IUIC. We're Israel United in Christ. We don't speak that crazy Hebrew, YAHAWAH, making fun of the Hebrew, making fun of the Lord's names, right? Or Sakari. Yeah, you can be yourself in this truth, man. You can be yourself. You can still be a nigga, the nigga that you were in the world. You can bring that into the truth. You can be a Hebrew in a Hellcat. You can do your rap videos. You can do that. You can do adultery. Hey, the marriage bed is undefiled, brother. You can go ahead and get pegged if you want to. You can do this and that, you know, or you know, Yahawashi didn't do no miracles. It was really witchcraft, or brother, trying to use all these big words, trying to look deep. You know, all of these things that these guys is doing, they only fear the eyes of men. They're doing that to fulfill their 501c3 charter contract, to get money from Esau, to build their congregation, to get numbers, whether they're sincere or not, okay, to make themselves look good. So it says, such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men, and considering the most secret parts. He knew all things ere ever they were created, so also after they were perfected, he looked upon them all. This man shall be punished in the streets of the city, and where he suspecteth not, he shall be taken. See? And that in that context, it was speaking about adultery, but that applies to anybody that doesn't fear the Lord. You know? Right, no, you got me?
Yeah. 1 Peter 4:1. For as so much then MASHAYACH hath suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourself likewise with the same mind. For he that hath suffered in the flesh hath ceased from sin, that he shall no longer live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lusts of men, but to the will of God. For the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles, when we walked in lasciviousness, lust, excessive wine, revellings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries, wherein they think it strange that ye run not with them to the same excess of riot, speaking evil of you. And that's exactly what you were talking about, with all these dudes mocking us about calling back to our own heritage with the Hebrew. They want to be putting themselves to make themselves look good with this banqueting and riding on horses and whatnot. putting themselves as those idols where they're basically worshiping themselves. These dudes could have these giant paintings of themselves with this Photoshop of what they think the kingdom's going to be like. These are the men that you're following in these areas. They don't have the Spirit of the Lord on them whatsoever, man.
Right, this is Titus 3:1. Put them in mind to be subject to principalities and powers, to obey magistrates, to be ready to every good work, to speak evil of no man, to be no brawlers, but gentle, showing all meekness unto all men. For we ourselves also were sometimes foolish, disobedient, deceived, serving diverse lusts and pleasures, living in malice and envy, hateful and hating one another. So we all used to be like that because we was in the world. We was living in a Gentile state of mind, but having received the truth and understanding your heritage and who we are and who YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI is, we're supposed to change. We're not supposed to still be like that in the truth. And like the brother was saying, that's exactly what they're doing. They done perverted the gospel, man. They perverted. They was never renewed through the spirit of their minds. They was never born again. You know, like it says in Romans 12. Okay, they're still the old man that they was in the world, just with the they're just well decorated now. You know, they have subscribers now. They have this and that. You know, now they're preaching out the Bible and calling on Christ. You know, false God.
A God that resembles the man that put you in captivity, in subjugation, that buck broke you, that ate you. You want to worship that. Not the Lord that actually genuinely, sincerely loves you and wants to give you everything. No, you want to worship the God, you want to worship the man that has a God complex, that wants you down, that has to stifle himself now so that he can go all out during Jacob's trouble and show his true colors.
Right, like it says in Job 9:24, you know, 2 Maccabees 3:48. Okay, this man done basically he committed iconoclasm. He whitewashed everything. Okay, and he not only changed his name, changed the name of the Messiah, but he also painted him in the likeness of his own image. He whitewashed him, gave him straight hair, you know, leprous skin, and said, "This is your God, Jesus Christ," and beat these lies into you through chattel slavery. And now our people willingly worship him. Willingly, even those that know they're Israelites, they willingly use this idolatrous name of their oppressor. Even though we have the truth now. Revelation chapter 1 tells you what he looks like. Throughout the scriptures, he gives you the characteristics, right? And we know that his name is Yahawashi, ancient Hebrew, man, which is a language that we speak, rather, and is the language of Elohim, the powers of heaven, Most High, and his only begotten Son. For you to willingly still cling to these plantation Christian dogmas, okay? That's evil, man. You hate the Lord.
And what's even crazier is, yeah, he painted his own likeness to the image of the Lord, and you can see how he's slowly implementing this mark for this mark with Elon Musk and whatnot.
Yeah.
Letting the computer used to be the size of a whole room. Then changed the banknote, so it's no longer the gold standard. Now it's a federal note. Then making it so, you can just have this card. It's holding access to your money. Then we're going to put a chip on that card and put it on it. It's a slow process. That frog in the
boiling water.
Yeah, the frog in the boiling water. That same exact process of him whitewashing the Lord. Look at how, with all these movies and TV shows, all these characters that you love, they be changing the race on them a lot.
Yeah.
And now, to the point where it was probably in their plan to have Putin release that information of, the Lord was actually a dark-skinned man. All this time to make people more upset, like, now they're doing it to the Lord. Mm-hmm. Like, they're probably just making it that way to to further push people away from actually understanding the truth. Yes, the Lord is a dark-skinned man. He sprang out of Judah, you know?
Right.
But all of that could be just, let's slowly get them annoyed with the race changes, even though we did it first. That's the men that they want to trust.
We talk about that a lot with how Esau works with gradualism. Like that beautiful example that you just brought up of him slowly transitioning people to make everything go digital, right? Because it was banknotes, then credit card, then they put the chip on there, tap to pay, no contactless payments, or we don't accept cash. Then it's going to be just, hey, well, take this subdermal device. Now you can be the computer, you can be the this and that. Or you can control things with your mind. Neuralink, put this brain chip in you. You can play games, no controller. Just do everything contactless. This is the future, okay? Coming out with more episodes of Black Mirror, showing you the social credit, showing you all these things that Esau is planning on doing. Revelation 12 and 12, for the devil has come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he has but a short time. Okay? So essentially what Jake is doing, he is basically an accomplice to all that, especially those that know they're Israelites that are doing everything that we was just mentioning. They are, you know, their allegiance is with Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Their allegiance is unto JC rather than Yahawashi, you know. But yeah, that just shows you again that they don't fear the Lord. They don't really believe. They don't really have faith. Okay, they're fully immersed in this system, this beast system, and this wicked queendom of Babylon the Great. They're fully immersed in it, and they don't want to get out of it. They don't want to leave.
They want to serve a false god, so you don't get false salvation.
Right. You know, just like in the ancient world, the ones that said put them to death, let blood be upon us and our children. It's the same thing. Okay, you wanna add weight, add burdens to the cross. You know, like Apostle, I believe it was Apostle Paul. He said, you want to add a yoke to my bonds. You want to make it harder on the sincere believers, man. You want to get them in a street lane. You want to forward Esau Edom's enterprise, right? And continue to deceive our people, man. Hey, but the elect is not going to be deceived. Okay, we understand this is all prophecy. It's all meant to happen this way. We're not tripping over what Jake is doing. It's very disrespectful. We get passionate about it, and it's rude how they come against the truth. But we understand that it's all the will of the Lord, and ultimately, all things work to the good of them that are called according to YAHAWASHI's purpose, like it says in Romans 8:28. Right? So we're gonna continue to endure these afflictions, endure the adversities, endure the offenses, right? And endure the persecution. Because Esau's he's gonna come down with it, and then he's gonna come down with that hammer.
You're not gonna get tripped up like Isaiah 33:6 says. That wisdom and knowledge is stability in that time. Even now, it's guiding us the right way.
Right.
So, Lord willing, the Lord keeps it on us in that time. We're not getting tripped up like how y'all clearly get tripped up over the most trivial things. Man.
Literally. Yeah. People still offended over the law, man. Deuteronomy 22. When it's plain, man. It's right there for you to understand. Just read it. You know, that's all the elders is talking about. Just going into the law. Don't be offended. You can't be offended by the words of the Lord. You know, otherwise that shows that you're not really, you're not really with the Most High. You're not obedient unto Him. You don't trust Him and His judgment. But you are operating off of a Babylonian mindset, a westernized viewpoint. You know, when you should understand that the ways of the Lord is perfect. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab that. And you quoted Isaiah chapter 33 and around verse 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. But when you fear the Lord, then you trust and believe in him. All right, you're confident in his words, in His judgment, in prophecy, and you understand that this is the Most High God we're dealing with. He's in control. Don't nothing happen unless He allows it, unless He wills it, right? And it's all going to happen according to His will. So, Lord's will of the elect, we don't got nothing to worry about, man. So we're stable. We're not trusting in this place that, you know, is uncertain, with no proper foundation, no wisdom, no knowledge, no righteousness. We're not worried about this. We're just passing through. We're temporary sojourners, because our permanent dwelling place is the kingdom, and that's what we're striving towards. That's what we're looking forward to.
It's crazy that you say that, because I know Isaiah and Halalalyam both were saying years ago how they had brothers with them that they fell out because they had locks and they didn't want to give them up. They wanted to like cut their hair, and the scriptures, 1 Corinthians 11.
They wanted to do the lineups and stuff.
Yeah, they wanted to line up, or other brothers who just can't let go of cutting their hair because it's too long. And 1 Corinthians 11:14 even tells you, doth not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him. It is that simple. And that's why the brother keeps saying, keep the main thing the main thing. Once you rely on your own understanding, make it your own thing, the spirit of the Yahawadah is not on you. If it was there to listen, it was there just to listen. But once you make it your own thing, and that's all you're finna get.
Yeah, right. Because there's a reason why the Lord commanded all the things that He commanded. When you dive into it, it all makes sense. There's a reason for all of it. And it is true that when a man has long hair, it's a certain spirit that's on him, and it's a certain image that he portrays. But not only that, it's also a little simple thing that the Lord commanded that sifts people. Because if you're offended at something as small as that, what else are you going to get offended at?
It's crazy that you said that there's an image that you're going to portray once you do that. And if the only two images that you really can't have is either being a faggot or a thug, that's really it. There's only going to be an effeminate man walking around always worried about your hair, always worried about your look, or you're going to try to be a thug because you got locks and you think it's cool. Right. You try to act hard and shit. It ain't for you then.
It happens every time, bro. Yeah, bro's not just talking out their ass. This is real stuff. It's real. It's every dude out here, man. Like when you're at war, one of the reasons is like when you're at war, you're gonna get your fucking hair pulled, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Dudes, when women get to fighting, they be pulling hair, scratching each other, right? It's effeminate, man. That's very effeminate. Dudes pulling hair and shit. Your hair getting caught. That happened to Absalom, King David's son. His hair, because he had long hair, he was a pretty boy, basically. And he was trying to escape on a horse, and his hair got caught in the tree. He hung from the tree. Then I believe it was Joab, he caught him. And even though King David, he was like, look, don't kill him, because that's my son, I still love him. Joab didn't listen. He caught his ass, he fucking slew him, man. Put him to death. All because he got caught in the tree because he had a long ass hair.
Man, that's even happened to me when I had long hair. When I had locks, I would be try to get in the car real quick, and you know that shit just be moving, and they get caught in the door. I'm like, damn, what the hell? Yeah, that shit had to go, man.
Oh, man. And even our women, that, of course, they have long hair. It's a glory for a woman to have long hair. Mm-hmm. But even then, they had head wraps. They covered it. You know, they covered themselves up. It was modest, everything.
Right. And just like Isaiah be saying, that dreadlock shit is not even our culture.
Yeah.
Shiva Jata. It's an Indian.
Elam.
Elamites. That's what they be doing, and we're just following another land that benefited from us being in captivity. Right. Like, what's the point of listening to them? And yeah, we the salt of the earth, and we can make it look cool and whatnot, but it's still going on.
Yeah.
I was listening to Elder Manatazakba earlier, and he was saying you can't please the Lord with sin.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Yeah.
Just because, but it's locks, but they short. No, it's still wrong. You can't have it. It's just dead matted hair.
Right.
Why would you want that attached to you?
Bro, like, you ever seen these transformations when they go to the barber and you're finally gonna get the locks either cut off or they're gonna get a retwist, whatever. Hella dandruff, bro. It stinks. It gets water trapped because 4C hair texture. You pretty much lock in moisture. That's why you're supposed to pick or comb your hair out. We don't need to wet our hair every day. We don't need to put shampoo in it every day. It's a certain way to take care of our hair texture, right? When you got them dreads, you just keep the dreads for weeks, months. That shit gets moisture locked in. It starts to stink. It gets dandruff locked in there because you can't get in to the hair and really scrub it down, or they're gonna get unraveled. And they're just clumped up, matted hair. That's nasty. It's nasty. And that's something that they dedicated towards their idol. That Elamites dedicated towards their idols, man. That's not something that you just do for a fashion statement. There's a purpose behind everything, man.
Well, you see wicks.
Wicks are, bro.
Oh man, wicks.
That looks even dumber, bro.
I hate Florida just for that reason, bro.
Man,
seeing what Kodak Black looked like when he first came out, bro.
Yeah.
I've seen one where somebody got literally a platypus bill, like a beaver tail bill of a wig, just one fat, like hair textured tongue on your head.
That shit looks so dumb.
It's so dumb. You ain't never wearing a hat.
Right. Can't even sit it down, bro. Brother said it's very spiritual because Absalom cut his hair once a year and he didn't get caught slipping when his hair was cut low. YAHAWASHI had the spirit to catch him when it was too long, right? Got his wicked ass up out of here by, his pretty boy, long ass hair. That's the spirit. And likewise, the Lord gonna get these guys with dreads out here, these young niggas. Guys with wigs, because it's a certain. You don't see no respectable young Jake with dreads, right? It's usually thug ass niggas, man, or effeminate,
I'm one of the good ones.
Like, come on. There's a reason for that, because it's a spirit in everything that you do, everything that you engage in. Them skinny jeans and Crocs, there's a certain spirit with that. We're not talking about, okay, you have Crocs, it's easy to slip on, you ain't go to the mailbox or whatever. No, you just be walking around with skinny jeans and Crocs.
That's how you present yourself. That's worse than walking around with a bonnet on your head.
Right, like that's how you want to be seen. Okay, and it's a difference between, how you portray yourself and actually caring about what the world thinks about you. We're not saying you need to care what the world thinks about you. We're the last people to care about what the world thinks about us, but it's a level of portray yourself in a presentable manner.
It's a righteous pride when you are clean,
right? Yeah, not walking around pink hair, dyeing your hair, got the frosted tips.
I can't do that.
It's gay, bro. You look dysfunctional. You look crazy. And it's detrimental to your scalp and your hair.
All that chemicals in your brain.
Right.
Bleach on your brain is a good idea for you.
Even the relaxers, putting all them relaxers, your hair gonna fall out. Doing all these perms, okay, your hair start thinning, and it's over for you. Now you look crazy. Now you gotta shave it all off. And you're not even supposed to do that. You're not supposed to shave baldness on your head. But that's the curses, man. Because we're disobedient. Our people are just disobedient. They want to follow the ways of the heathen rather than the ways of the Lord. The ways of the Lord are perfect, man. It's not like the Lord is like, oh, I can't do anything. No, there's plenty you can do, but in righteousness and in order.
And that's the crazy thing, because the perfectness of the laws is that of it's cleanliness, it's order, and it's righteous. So the fact that we don't even, the laws are not enforced within the land right now, and because of that, you got polluted air, food, water, clothing, everything is polluted. But once you actually, once the laws are actually properly enforced throughout the entire land, 100% with no sin being done on the earth by Israel, then all the food is going to be pure and clean. The air is going to be pure and clean. Everything will be with righteous order. So it's not even, man.
Because that's what the law is for. The commandments of the Lord is all righteous. This is how to live your life. These are conducive to life. Okay, without laws, then people are just going to do whatever they want. There's not going to be any consequences for wickedness. You're going to destroy yourself. You're going to destroy the world around you. You're going to destroy each other. So laws are in place. Okay, that shows you how to live. It teaches you what is right from wrong.
Jake will trade spiritual power, perfection, and peace for a PS5. You're gonna trade all that. You would rather have to turn down the music and act right whenever the cop passes right by you, just to not have anything happen to you, than to hearken on to the Lord and not even be in a situation where you gotta worry about that, or at least believe in this thing and just be patient and wait for it.
Take this and grab this real quick, man. And essentially, this is what I think it's Proverbs chapter 8, right? Proverbs, or MASHAYACH chapter 8, towards the end, right? Verse 33. Hear instruction and be wise, and refuse it not. Blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my doors. For whoso findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death. Like the scriptures say, death shall be chosen rather than life. Essentially, that's what Jake is doing every time they go against the will of the Heavenly Father, against His commandments. They're literally choosing death. They're choosing the ways of death. Therefore, they're choosing death rather than life. Rather than choosing to obey, take heed to the Most High's instruction. You know? And it shows you how much, just how far gone Jake is, that, like the brother said, they're willing to do the most, man. They're willing to do the most and extra for
themselves and nothing for the Lord.
Exactly. All their eggs are in the basket of the world, and they have no investment. They don't even, like the scriptures say, my people does not know. No, they don't even consider. They don't even consider the Heavenly Father. All right. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Okay, so and we pray in the lessons edifying, exhorting, and uplifting to the spirit and power of YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, the YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, KAYAHA, QADASH. It's sort of upon us to bring out this lesson and push forth His word. Keep pushing, keep praying, keep fasting, keep enduring, keep striving for the truth unto death, and YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI shall fight for thee, and keep abiding in faith. Abad the ball, Kwame Asharala, stay strong on his home. Shalom, Wa Barakyam, Al Habakharyam, meaning peace and blessings to the elect. YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, Ratazah, willing, we may be a part of that number. The water for tuning in, the water for the precepts. All right, Ahabatam Akyam. May the blessing of election be upon your households, and blessings, honor, glory, and power be unto YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, Tham Yad, Wa LaIwalamyam, always and forever. We want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Shalom.
Shalom.